The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium, it's Courtois in goal. Experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagno will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield. And Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium, it's Courtois in goal. Experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagno will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield. And Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium, it's Courtois in goal. Experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagno will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield. And Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium, it's Courtois in goal. Experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagno will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield. And Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium it's Courtois in goal, experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagne will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield, and Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time, and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium it's Courtois in goal, experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagne will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield, and Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet in Al Rayyan. Belgium, of course, finished third 4 years ago in Russia, and perhaps unlucky to lose 1-0 to France in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Canada are a resurgent force, co-hosts in 4 years' time, and playing their first finals since 1986. The big team news for Belgium is that Romelu Lukaku is not fit enough to start and could also miss the game against Morocco on Sunday. It's a different story though for Canada, with their superstar Alphonso Davies past fit after a hamstring issue. The team's in full and both line up 3-4-3. For Belgium it's Courtois in goal, experienced back three of Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Carrasco and Castagne will play wide, with Witsel and Tielemans in midfield, and Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne supporting Michy Batshuayi. For Canada, Bojan's in goal, Johnson, Vittoria and Miller at the back. Hoylett and Larea will play wide, with Esticao and Captain Hutchinson, 39 no less, in midfield, and Buchanan and Davis supporting Lille's Jonathan David. Morocco and Croatia kicked off World Cup Group F this morning with a goalless draw, and now it's the turn of Belgium and Canada as they meet.
We will leave that just about there. Then a very warm welcome on to Independent Off-Tube Studio commentary of the World Cup Group F match between Belgium and Canada. Belgium at third place 4 years ago, unlucky not to go all the way. I think many of us thought their golden generation continues, but maybe not as strong as it was. They play a Canada side making their first World Cup appearance since 1986. They went out in the group stages on that occasion. Belgium reached the semi-finals. Will history repeat itself? We'll have to see over the next few weeks. Of course, Morocco and Croatia drew 0-0 earlier in this group. I'm Jack Ogilvie, joined by Dan McCarthy. We've both had the pleasure of watching France 4, Australia 1. I suppose it's Giants against Minnows this game, Dan, but Canada have got some real talent.
Yes, certainly so. It's similar to the game that we watched last night in terms of the pre-match build-up. You've got a team that are heavily favoured to do well, even though Belgium's squad, as you alluded to, probably not as strong as the squads that have come by in the last 4, 5, 6 years. Canada gave the ball away in quite a dangerous area. Belgium looking to come forward, deflected strike, and it's well held onto by the goalkeeper Milan Borjan. But I do expect Belgium to have too much for Canada, even though Canada, I do think, looking at how they're lining up, could be quite strong, at least on the counter-attack with the pace of Alphonso Davies and Junior Hoylett.
And Junior Hoylett has it down the left-hand side for Canada. 50th cap the other day. Plays in towards Jonathan David. It's up and away from Leander Dendoncker. Alphonso Davies is fit. He's had that hamstring worry. He has the ball now, the Bayern Munich man. I'll run you through the team he's in a second. But Canada on the attack. Alistair Johnston's on the overlap. Buchanan gives it to him. It's half away by Yannick Carrasco. Johnston will battle with the Atletico Madrid man and comes out on top. Buchanan into the box, driving into Estacao, the Porto midfielder. It's just about away from Belgium, but a competitive and confident start from Canada. I was just about to pause there because Vittoria looked like he was going to pass the ball back towards Boyan, with Batshuayi lurking. The real big team news for Belgium is, of course, no Romelu Lukaku. He may not even play against Morocco on Sunday either. He is, of course, their record scorer, their second highest scorer. Eden Hazard, he does start. He captains the side. 3-4-3 for him. Very experienced at the back. Courtois, Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen. Castagna and Carrasco wide. Witsel and Tielemans patrolling the midfield with Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard supporting Michy Batshuayi, who had the deflected effort towards Boyan's goal. Just seeing Buchanan barge into Belgium's record cap holder, Jan Vertonghen, cap number 143 for the former Spurs man who plays at Anderlecht these days. The lineup for Canada also 3-4-3. Boyan in goal, Johnston, Victoria and Miller across the back. Hoylett and Larea are going to play from wide by the looks of it. Estacao and Atiba Hutchinson, 99th cap for him this evening. Record cap holder for the Maple Leafs in midfield. Davis and Buchanan supporting Jonathan David. Though he does look a bit like Davis, he is playing as the left wing back, as the lively Buchanan has the ball on the right hand side. He'll have a go at Carrasco, who's obviously not a natural defender. He thought he'd won the ball there and it was going to be a Belgian ball, but Théon Buchanan of Club Brugge actually comes up with another Club Brugge man, Kyle Larin. He's got 13 goals in qualifying. He's on the bench this evening as the play just breaks down for Canada. Belgium in predominantly red shirts, black sleeves, black shorts and red socks. All white this evening for the Canadians. Change strip. Vertonghen throws down the line just on the edge of his box, left to right in the first half for Belgium. Independent off-tube studio commentary still goalless in the early stages. Alderweireld will hammer clear. He plays at Antwerp these days as Toby Alderweireld, and Estacal's taken a bit of a bump under pressure from Michy Batshuayi. In fact, it was Stephen Vittoria, who son of Portuguese parents, plays his football in Portugal with Chavez. First look at Jonathan David, who seems forever and a day he's been linked with a Premier League move. Jonathan David, superb in recent seasons for Lille, key in their League win a couple of seasons ago, and almost the last man standing there.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a really good season so far. A goal almost every 2 games for the Canadians. So we mentioned Alphonso Davies. Particularly going forward, they do have multiple players who look like they can cause problems. I've been impressed with Buchanan's role so far. Junior Hoylett's a bit more experienced, but he is still a direct winger. I would expect Belgium to eventually settle into the game and have more of the possession. We know exactly what Roberto Martinez likes to do. He's got the tiki-taka brand, if you like, hailing from Spain. But the way that Canada have started this game, they do look a very progressive unit, and they don't look to be too fearful either. And why should they be? Because this is essentially a free hit for them. No one expects Canada to perform strongly on the international stage, because historically football has not been one of their favoured sports, but particularly 4 years before they co-host the World Cup. A good run here, and they'll be feeling really confident for when the tournament heads to their homeland.
It's a very young team as well, if you take out 39-year-old Atiba Hutchinson, and maybe the same for Junior Hoylett, who's 32. But predominantly it's a side you expect to still be playing in 4 years' time, as Dan says. They will co-host the World Cup alongside the USA and Mexico. Estacao gets the better of Carrasco there. He'll turn and give it to Larrea. And left footer play on the right-hand side and looking good as well. Drives down the right towards Buchanan, in towards Jonathan David. It almost fell to him. Donker got a timely touch. I think the last touch as well. It's going to be the first corner kick of the game. You mentioned progressive, Dan. I would just say out-and-out confident from Canada so far.
Yeah, it's a fabulous cross in from Buchanan. And Dendoncker, did he get there first with that touch ahead of Jonathan David? The marking wasn't particularly great. You are right, it is a corner kick for Canada, and Belgium already have got some work to do. I mean, with the experience they've got, Alderweireld, Vertonghen and Dendoncker, I'd expect them to be, fairly competent from these set pieces in terms of defending, but Canada, as you mentioned, are looking very, very confident.
They are indeed, and have this corner kick as well. Heads towards the back post. Buchanan's there, he controls, goes for goal, it deflects and loops up into the hands of Thibaut Courtois. They're asking for a potential handball there, are the Canadians. It's Gianni Sakazewi, the Zambian official this evening. History repeated itself, in fact. Belgium won their opening game of the last World Cup 3-0 against Panama, and it was Sakazewi in the middle with the whistle. And we're going to have a VAR check by the looks of it, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested to look at a replay of this, because at first glance, as is often the case with shots that go in from that close range, the referee is going over to the screen, so usually that means a penalty is going to be given, although we saw a couple of days ago, I mean, it's gone from my memory, where the referee went over and decided to stick with his on-field decision. So we're just waiting for a replay to come up. The referee is going to have a check now.
Denmark-Tunisia, wasn't it?
Yes.
It's Buchanan with the shot, and Carrasco's arm is out there, isn't it? And it hits him right on the fist/hand. I think we're going to have a penalty kick.
Yeah, I don't particularly like handballs given
harsh
for those, because the proximity is close. It's caught nicely by Buchanan as he volleys it towards the target. Carrasco, he's turning his back as well, so that kind of indicates he's trying to get out of the way. Referee makes the VAR gesture and points to the spot. So Canada, 8.5 minutes into the game, have got a massive opportunity to go 1-0 up, and perhaps it's deserved as well, because they've been the better of the two sides, and to add insult to injury, Carrasco is going to pick up a booking for that.
Yeah, yellow card for Carrasco. Canada failed to score on their sole outing at a World Cup in 1986. Who's going to step up? Who else? It's almost Gareth Bale-esque, this, isn't it? The superstar of the team, Alphonso Davies, has put the ball on the spot. Hands on hips, left-footed as well, against Thibaut Courtois. Bayern Munich against Real Madrid. And we wait. Referee Zakesi tells Courtois to ensure he stays on his line. Davies, an injury doubt with that hamstring issue, has made it, and he's got a chance to make history now with Canada's first World Cup goal. The referee ensures there's no encroachment as Davies waits. He's had a long wait now. He's eyes for the referees, waiting for that whistle. Courtois in his big frame and yellow kit, making himself look as big as he can. He stretches out his arms and waves them to either side, trying to put Davies off. The whistle goes. Davies steps up, left-footed, saved by Courtois. Can he get the rebound? Oh no, Canada got it all wrong. David got in Davies' way. Great save, Courtois down to his right-hand side. I fancied Davies just to hammer home the rebound, but if anything, David took it off his toes.
Well, it's a huge chance that's been spurned by Canada. Maybe justice has been done. We'll just get another look at the replay of the penalty. He's trying to go low, but he doesn't get it far enough in the corner, and it's an excellent stop from Thibaut Courtois. Davies couldn't quite react in the nick of time to get the follow-up strike towards goal, and I think you're right, he and Jonathan David got in each other's way, so a very early warning sign for Belgium. If they don't get a grip of themselves and get hold of the ball, they will allow Canada opportunities. So big early opportunity spurned by Canada, but they can't let that get them down, because 11 minutes into the game, they've been by far the better of the two sides.
It's going to be interesting to see how both sides react to that incident. As Toby Alderweireld was put his foot on the ball, stroke it to his old friend Jan Vertonghen from Ajax and Tottenham colleagues, of course, both back playing in Belgium now. As Tielemans was nudged away by Esther Cowan. David back towards the lively Buchanan on the edge of the box. He tries to turn, but Kevin De Bruyne back there doing his defensive duty. Vertonghen and Carrasco just about getting away. Vertonghen heads for the touchline and finds it. And Kevin De Bruyne not happy at all. The camera, as the ball goes out for the first time since that penalty, almost inevitably falls on Alphonso Davies, the real superstar. 5 goals in qualifying for him. We mentioned Larin on the bench, 13 for him, but Davies, I was thinking that situation, you almost do what Gareth Bale did and run up and just hit it as hard as you can to your favoured side and hope you've got it past the goalkeeper before he moves there. It was a bit of a soft penalty as David goes for a goal. It's dragged wide. In fact, it was Larrea, wasn't it? Left-footed, well wide in the end. Yeah,
a bit of a scuff strike that from Larrea. We're getting another look at the replay. And as the ball comes back to Alphonso David, I think it's the spin of the ball and the fact that he has to check back slightly that means the first touch isn't great, and then David gets in the way. It's a bit of a mess of a follow-up. Got to praise Courtois, he dives the right way. It's a good save. It's not outstanding because the penalty wasn't, but Canada come forward again. They're putting crosses into the box. Jonathan David strikes left-footed. Belgium are absolutely all over the place. They've won the ball inside the box, but the flag has gone up for an offside. I think that's quite unfortunate, really. And now the Canadian players are complaining that I think they're complaining they should have another penalty here. Yeah, we're seeing it again. Hazard loses the ball. Is he offside? That was a pass by Hazard to Buchanan. Well, that's why. And that's a penalty kick, surely. Yeah, they must have a look at this one as well. Yeah, that's why I was baffled at first, because it was a clear back pass. It doesn't look like they're going to have a look at it. So the officiating team not having a great time of things so far, but they're having a better time of things than Belgium. They're really playing themselves into a lot of trouble. And I was going to make the point a few moments ago about when Canada were building up play, and we saw Kevin De Bruyne getting back and making that last-ditch challenge to stop a shot coming in. And that's all we've seen of De Bruyne so far. Even arguably the best midfielder on the planet is having to get back and do defensive work to save Belgium's skin. Well, that stat tells a story. Canada have 7 attempts at goal. Belgium have had one that deflected from Michi Batshuayi. If you missed it earlier on, Germany won, Japan 2. Spain 7, Costa Rica 0. That was in Group E. Earlier in this group, Group F, Morocco 0, Croatia 0. It's Groups G and H tomorrow, isn't it? Uruguay and South Korea. Portugal also in action, as are Brazil and Serbia. And Cameroon also in amongst it. So another busy day on this service. They just keep coming thick and fast. Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon, Uruguay, South Korea and Portugal against returning Ghana, who missed out in 2018. Hazard only played 6 times for Real Madrid so far this season. He looks like a player who's had limited game time, scored once in that spell. John Herdman, the Canadian coach, lots been talked about him, from County Durham. The only man to coach both the men's and women's World Cups. Won bronze with the Canadian women's team in Rio 2016 at the Olympics. Had a spell with New Zealand as well. He's certainly done his time as again Canada come forward. Hoylett has it. The offside flag stays down. The ready man goes for a goal. And maybe should have passed it. Not a bad effort, though, wide of the target. No, it wasn't. And at first I thought Hoylett had drifted offside, but looking at the replay, I don't think he did. I think he timed his run really well. That forward line of Canada's is causing Belgium absolute havoc. It's the pace disparity that's the most eye-opening thing with Buchanan, Hoylett, Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David. They're up against defenders who are primarily in their mid-30s. Alderweireld and Vertonghen have been great players in the past. They weren't necessarily the quickest when they were in their peak years, so they're even slower now. And unfortunately, there does look to be a bit of a disparity in terms of the age and the freshness, and they're going to have to rely on their defensive nous, I think, just to stop Canada.
Yeah, it's been a tournament for the underdogs so far, barring Costa Rica today, I think you'd say, but there must have been those results coming in. It must have caused some anxiety within the Belgian side against a Canada team, like you said, Dan. Have got nothing to lose at this competition. They want to compete. No one suggests they're not here to compete, or in Qatar to compete rather, but at the same time, there's a lot of these players who will be really in their peak in 4 years' time, will have a World Cup under the belt.
Yeah, absolutely so, and they'll be looking ahead to that. I think some players in their minds will already relish the opportunity of the fact that they're going to be playing a home World Cup tournament. So this is almost an audition, if you like. I know it's looking very far ahead into the future, but even for the now, there's no point in Canada going to Qatar and just sitting back and inviting pressure, because the teams of better technical quality will pick them apart. What I like about Canada so far is they know exactly what they're good at, and they're looking to exploit what Belgium aren't necessarily good at.
Absolutely. It's away there by Kamal Miller. Goalless, if you just join us, just over 17 and a half gone. Independent Off-Tube Studio commentary, and it's flown by this opening part of the game. Alphonso Davies seeing a penalty saved by Thibaut Courtois. Canada have been by far the better team so far, as Dendonker's forced to go back to Courtois. Dendonker, the third man in that back three alongside Alderweireld and Vertonghen, hasn't seen much football since moving to Aston Villa from Wolves in the summer. Here's Kevin De Bruyne, breaks, he's got a man wide to his right hand side. Oh, he played the wrong ball. It was Yuri Tielemans who just popped up. He was looking for the pace of Carrasco down the left hand side, but Tielemans would have had the opportunity to take one touch, get himself into the box and fire at Boyan.
I'm really surprised that Kevin De Bruyne there not finding the ball to Tielemans. He was in absolutely acres of space, and I don't know whether he got his head up and saw both Carrasco and Tielemans and just went for the wrong option, or if he didn't see Tielemans, but I'm sure Tielemans will have been giving him a big shout. That's the first time really that Belgium have been able to come forward and Canada have been open defensively, and they've not taken that opportunity. Big chance that for Belgium, because if Tielemans gets the ball, he's one-on-one against the goalkeeper.
That's the first real opportunity we've seen for Belgium to move through the phases. Witsel will drop back into the back line to give Alderweireld an option, but the defender goes to his goalkeeper instead. Now Castagna digs it out and goes down the line. Batshuayi's up against Vittoria. The Canadian does well, but so does Batshuayi to work it back to Witsel. Now Hazard, that familiar scampering stance as he drives away, almost bent over. Ball favouring his right foot. He's fouled by Buchanan on that occasion. He's impressed me so far, Buchanan. I have to say he's skillful, but he's got a bit of bite about him as well.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you want from players of that ilk. He's a tricky winger. He's got that pace. He's got that skillfulness, and going back as well, you want your wingers to provide the defensive duty. We're just having another look at the possession stat there, and it's even Stevens, and I certainly wasn't expecting that coming into this game. Belgium in the last couple of minutes have just started to string a few passes together, and now Canada have got to show a different side to their game. But what I like about Canada as well is the work rate is unbelievable. They're snapping at the Belgian heels, and it's almost as if Roberto Martinez's side don't know what's hit them.
Yes, it's been very impressive so far from the Canadians. They qualified in style, didn't they? The top scorers in CONCACAF, and also the best defensive record, beating Mexico along the way. And we go all the way in what is a long drawn-out affair a lot of the time in North American qualifying. That's good play by Johnston, putting pressure on Vertonghen, and it goes for a goal kick, but the CF Montreal man Showing plenty of commitment. 31st cap for him this evening as Davis, who's been quiet since having that penalty saved, albeit not much possession has come his way, just for the sheer ferocity with which Canada have attacked. They've gone back to front, have been happy to do it. Timothy Castagna, one of two Leicester players in the Belgian side, finds the other one. Tielemans with his throw there without face is also on the bench. They need a defensive reinforcement. The Red Devils. Tielemans is fouled in midfield. Axel Witsel puts the ball down to restart the game. Just has a look towards Roberto Martinez, the Belgian manager, for some instruction. Of course, guiding the Red Devils to third at the last World Cup. But it's been suggested maybe the honeymoon period is over after what was a disappointing Euros, going out to eventual winners Italy 2-1, but this performance is reminiscent of it because they haven't got going, have they?
No, they haven't. It has been real disappointing stuff, this, from Belgium. Not had any chances at goal. I mean, Milan Borjan in goal, he's basically been a spectator so far, apart from that strike that came in inside the first minute, which was deflected. Since then, I don't recall him touching the ball. It's been such a good start by Canada, and it's a massive shame that they couldn't take that opportunity from the penalty spot, because I do think they deserve to be in front.
As Alderweireld goes back to front, he looks towards Hazard. Lovely touch by Hazard. He's got the wrong side of his man. He cuts it back to Tielemans. If he let the ball run away with De Bruyne, it's Batshuayi at the back post, takes far too long, and Miller makes a heroic block, a chest bump as well from his goalkeeper Boyan there. Hazard, that was almost the Hazard of old, the way he brought it down, then found his man. The ball would have gone to De Bruyne. Tielemans, though, took it on. It went to Batshuayi, and Miller got across with a great challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most sympathetic ball towards Michy Batshuayi, I don't think. He couldn't take it first time as he would have liked. Really good play, that, from Eden Hazard, shaking off Johnston's challenge. Pulls it back then for Tielemans, who I think can't decide whether he wants to shoot or to lay it off, but it's a really, really good challenge by Miller to get the ball away for a corner.
Yes, Kevin De Bruyne will take it. Axel Witsel waits. I'll hand over to Dan in a second. We'll see out this period of play as outswinger from De Bruyne from the right-hand side with his right foot. It's away well by Vittoria, who's had a solid start to the game, and it's given away again by Belgium. Davis almost broke. It's given away a second time by Belgium. Courtois will, I was going to say, shepherd it back into his box, but he didn't have the time to do it. Hoylett brings it down under pressure from Witsel and Batshuayi. Last touch was a Canadian one, according to the officials. A throw into Belgium on the halfway line, and Dan will take us through to half-time.
Cheers, Jack. You're absolutely right. It's been half of football that so far has flown by. It's been a really enjoyable watch. Still awaiting our first goal, but Belgium, this will have been the group game that they would have looked at and assumed it would be, on paper at least, the most straightforward. It's been anything but that so far. The ball's been given away again, but Castagna is able to win it back, and now Belgium can come forward and exploit a few gaps in midfield. It's 5-on-4. He plays it forward into the area. Here's Eden Hazard, keeps his balance well. Two Canada players around him in the form of Johnston, and I think the other one there was Leryi helping out at the back. So Canada have just got to be a little bit mindful that although it's great and refreshing to see them piling men forward when they've got the opportunity, a few gaps have begun to open up, and when you've got the likes of Kevin De Bruyne in midfield who can pick passes from any sort of angle, you could be in trouble if you give him too many of those opportunities. It's a free kick now with Johnston just upending Eden Hazard, moves into the back of the Real Madrid man, and he takes no second invitation to go down to the ground. He's the Belgium captain, which when you look at some of the players that are there in the squad, might be a little bit of a surprise as the free kick is sent over to this near side towards Castagna, and all he wanted to do was try and lay it off to Michy Batshuayi. It's a missed header by Alphonso Davies. It drops there for Timothy Castagna, but he just couldn't quite get that touch. But in the last few minutes, we have seen Canada look that little bit more porous.
Potentially a bit of fatigue and almost excitement and exuberance wearing off for the Canadians, and maybe a sign that Belgium are coming into this game as Hutchinson will sweep it wide to Estekau, and now Davis. The first time I've really been able to see him get the ball at his feet.
Yeah, and it's Davis with a few nice step-overs, links up really well there with Hoylett. He's now laid it off. The strike comes in from the edge of the area, and it really would be a nice story if Atiba Hutchinson on his 99th cap, the 39-year-old, could get a goal, but he slices that effort and it goes a long way wide of the target. But there's no fear at all from this Canada side, and Belgium once again nearly playing themselves into trouble. I think Castagna in particular is having a tough time down that right hand side with Davis running at him, and we're seeing Hoylett and David peeling across to that side as well, as the replay comes in from the reverse angle of the shot from Atiba Hutchinson. But Timothy Castagna not exactly enjoying himself thus far.
Difficult evening so far for the Leicester man, isn't it? I was just thinking what an important role him and Carrasco have got in giving Belgium a bit of whip, because most of their play is very, very central, but he's having to deal with Alphonso Davis, and it's nice the way that these two sides are matching up. They pretty much man for man all over the field, aren't they? And at the moment it's Canada who are winning their individual battles as Estekau fouls Witsel there. 50-50, and I think maybe just a bit too hasty there, Estekau. Even so, it just shows how sharp they are getting into their challenges, just making life generally difficult for Belgium.
Yeah, it's been an uncomfortable 27.5 minutes so far. Belgium 0, Canada 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary. The fourth of 4 World Cup matches to take place today, and they've slowly but steadily increased in goals output. We'll have to get 8 goals to beat the total of Spain's demolition job of Costa Rica. And, well, the way that the game has gone so far, I don't want to put the jinx on it, but I'd be majorly shocked if we don't get any goals in this one, as Canada now play the ball across to the far right hand side for Alistair Johnston to lift one forward, scooped up into the air, and now an opportunity for Canada to run down the far side. It's a really progressive run into the box. It's pulled back towards Jonathan David, who was the central man in the area. So actually it was Junior Hoylett. David's come out to the far side now, headed down into the path of Le Yi, and now Axel Witsel. Has he given away the free kick? No, he hasn't. Canada work the ball into the box, and Belgium can clear it, and this time they were looking to come down the right hand side, and I suppose with Carrasco on a booking, there's no reason why they shouldn't be looking to attack that flank.
Absolutely, it was a great read that by Castagna, wasn't it, defensively, because it looked like the ball was going forward to one or two Canadian players, and he just about got in between them and got the interception. I've been really impressed so far by Alistair Johnson down the right hand side. As I say that again, he's pouring forward.
Yeah, he's coming into the box now. Was he blocked off or brought down? Well, he's got back up to his feet straight away. Johnston's going to shoot, beaten away by Thibaut Courtois. Belgium struggling to clear their lines. Johnston tries to head it back in. It's lifted out of the box by Axel Witsel, sent back forward by Atiba Hutchinson. A game of head tennis has just broken out now, and Hutchinson is there to mop up on the far side, and he toe pokes the ball back to Miller in the back line. Eustacow now forward into the path of Alphonso Davis. Hoylett is on the left hand side. Eustacow sends it forward quickly. Here comes Buchanan now. Buchanan looking to get away from both Castagna and from Alderweireld. He nearly does as well. I mean, I've been so impressed by Canada's spirit and energy so far, and Alistair Johnston with a very firm strike as well, beaten away well by Thibaut Courtois. But you're right, he's looked impressive. He is playing as the right-sided defender of this back three, and he looks to me like the sort of player who's a fullback by trade, and he's doing what a lot of fullbacks can do these days, which is play in those wide centre-back roles.
Yeah, he's been excellent so far. Kamal Miller, he's made a couple of good blocks, especially that one from Batshuayi too, and there's no fear at all from the way Canada have played so far. Justicau, great ball over the top.
Yeah, opportunity this for Canada. It's pulled back into the area, shot towards goal from Jonathan David. He doesn't quite get the requisite power behind it that he needs. It's blocked by Alderweireld, and Courtois was there to make the save. 31 minutes on the clock. Belgium 0, Canada 0, but Canada having so many shots towards goal, and Belgium, I think if you offered them half-time right now, they'd probably accept it, but they've still got a potentially uncomfortable 15 more minutes to go. And then the running theme of this World Cup has been the long stints of time added on at the end of each half, so we've potentially got another 20 minutes to go. And Belgium, well, they've been rattled so far, and what they're doing now is just slowing the pace of the game down, and for their own good more than anything, because they'll be absolutely feeling ragged at the minute by this Canadian side. Ball played over the top. Castagna heads it on towards Batshuayi. It's not quite going to stick for the current Fenerbahce centre forward, and now Canada attacking down the left side again. Here is Davis. Davis squares the ball, tries to square it into the path of Hoylett, and he uses his strength well to get the ball away from Eden Hazard. Hoylett lifts it in towards the back post, and it's headed over by Jonathan David. Couldn't quite guide it back towards the far corner, and it goes over the bar.
Great play by Hoylett, wasn't there? Just out-muscled Hazard. Hazard tried to barge him off the ball, but Hoylett had too much for him. It was just a bit too strong, that cross. David was backpedaling. It was always going to be difficult for him. There's even, you mentioned Belgium decided to slow it down. There's a bit of pointing fingers now, isn't there, and falling out of each other.
Here's De Bruyne moving down the left-hand side, lifts it into the box for Batshuayi. He wanted to go first time on the volley. He scuffs the effort and he just hits it into the ground. Kamal Miller was getting across to put him off, and then Borhan, the goalkeeper, able to collect it. Big ask for Michy Batshuayi this evening. We know Romelu Lukaku is Belgium's all-time top scorer. He's the second in command, but he doesn't bring to the party what Lukaku does, and it could be very easy for him to become isolated in this game.
Very few do bring to the party what Lukaku does, but he's had a tough season, hasn't he? Back on loan at Inter Milan. There's doubts whether he's going to be able to play against Morocco on Sunday, so you'd say the sure is Batshuayi. You do wonder, with Dries Mertens on the bench, would they look to make that change? Although for his brilliant club form and his club scoring record, Mertens has only got 21 goals in his 107 caps. The 35 might not be the athlete he once was, but he gives you something different. Batshuayi, unfortunately for him, he's almost lived his career in the shadow of Lukaku. He's got his big chance here. Unfortunately, he's just not quite there, but that's typical of the whole Belgium side tonight.
Yeah, I think the only other option really for Belgium, other than Dries Mertens, would be for them to go to a false nine, if you like, with Charles de Ketelaere and Lois Openda, Jeremy Doku all on the bench. But Romelu Lukaku is a unique figure as Belgium come forward. Gaps opened up on this right-hand side, but the ball is too powerful for Timothy Castagna. He tries with all his might to slide the ball back into the box from his Leicester colleague, Yuri Tielemans, but there was too much pace on the ball. Miller was getting back, and he made the block anyway from the ball that was reversed into the area by Timothy Castagna. So no chance there for Belgium to try and work Milan Borhan, who's been a virtual spectator so far. Plenty of support from those Canadian fans. Their first World Cup for 36 years. I'd suggest that most of the fans that have travelled from Canada to Qatar, a long-haul flight as well, probably won't have been born when they last took to the field in a World Cup. And they've had a big opportunity to take the lead. The best chance of the game coming from the penalty spot, but Alphonso Davies' effort was very well stopped by Thibaut Courtois, and Canada will be hoping, but hope that they don't live to regret that, as Borhan clears one down the line. Headed on by Batshuayi as it was nodded back towards him, but Canada once again find themselves in possession with Davis on the near side. Justicau across now for Vitoria. Vitoria, short square ball for Alistair Johnston. There's a lot of movement ahead of him, but Johnston squares it to Vittoria now, who dinks one over to this near side for Miller. Miller forward, and then twisting, turning is Alphonso Davies. He's a player who's got that lovely skill set of acceleration, and now he's played it to Johnston, and moving forward at Canada, Johnston puts the early cross in towards Buchanan, who's the most central man. It's very fluid, this formation, players popping up into the box, different players. As a matter of fact, Atiba Hutchinson quickly plays it forward, or tries to play it forward into the path of David. It had a bit too much fizz on it, and David has given possession away now. Here is Axel Witsel to collect the ball for Belgium, and well, they get hold of the ball once again. But every time Canada come forward, you almost sense that they want to play that early ball in, because they've got so many white shirts moving forward.
Yeah, they do, don't they? And it's, you said, a very fluid system. Atiba Hutchinson's dropping back in. That allows especially Alistair Johnson to push forward. Kamal Miller a lot happier, I think, defending, but Johnson likes getting forward. But it also means that Kamal Miller pretty much go to left back, and Davis can go forward and find himself a bit more space. Ustikau has been really impressive so far. He's looked sharp when we've seen him in the Champions League this season for Porto, and he's patrolled the midfield. He's certainly had the upper hand on Tielemans and Witsel. Those two very much the main midfield duo for Belgium rather, but neither have really got into the game this evening.
Chance now for Canada with Richie Leahy on the far side. Rolls it back now for Alistair Johnston, and Ustikau now on the far side in for Hutchinson. Johnston again. Belgium not really getting too close. Hutchinson makes the move forward. It's with Leahy now, who's moving into the box. Was he brought down by Axel Witsel? The Canada players want a penalty. I don't think there's enough in that. I think that was just good, strong defending by Witsel.
Yeah, they seem to be running side by side more than anything. Witsel, does he catch his ankle? Ooh, they're running side by side, but it's somewhat clumsy maybe from Witsel, but it doesn't look like they're going to... well, they've reviewed it by the looks of it. It's going to be play on.
Yeah, I think Belgium would have been apoplectic if Canada have been awarded a second penalty there, but it's not to be the case, or is it? No, I think the check is going to go on, and how amazing would this be if the referee is sent over to the screen once again. He's getting some instructions through his earpiece. I don't know what the World Cup version of Stockley Park is, but... he's just having a conversation now, and that's why the game has not yet recommenced. And this is an awkward and tense moment for Belgium. Well, the reverse replay that we saw perhaps indicated that there was maybe something in those appeals, but the game is back underway now. Check complete, no penalty. I think that's probably the right decision, even though Canada will feel that the penalty should have been given. There was contact, but it was very light contact as well, and you don't want to be in that train of thought where every piece of contact does result in a foul, because it is ultimately a contact sport. But another scare there for Belgium, who've got just over 5 minutes plus added time to hold on now for the rest of this first half. A very enjoyable game of World Cup football. Davis twisting and turning, gets away from Castagna, and now it's played down the line for Davis once more. Wants to play the ball into the box quickly. It's cleared by Belgium, and Canada still looking just as impressive as they did in the first minute. They've definitely not tired yet.
Yeah, we thought they were going to have a bit of a lull, but after a couple of minutes off, they've got back into that energetic play, and Belgium have been totally the opposite. They've been lethargic throughout. They've had maybe a couple of breakouts, but we're seeing it there. Perfect example. It is a foul against Atiba Hutchinson, but the throw was played in from the left-hand side by Davis. It bounced. Hutchinson was allowed to control it, and 3 Belgian players failed to react.
Yeah, it's been a real mess so far as Belgium are concerned. Quarter-finalists in the 2018 semi-finalists, I should say, in the 2018 World Cup. It was the eventual winners, France, that knocked them out, and some really good displays on the way, beating Brazil in the quarter-finals. They're coming forward now down this near side. It's with Castagna, who's trying to link up with Eden Hazard, but all Castagna can do is play it back to Yuri Tielemans, and it's a rare foray forward into the Canada half. Here's Witsel, back now with Toby Alderweireld, and here is Leander Dendoncker, who made the move from Wolves to Aston Villa on deadline day. He's normally a central midfielder, but he's been used as a central defender. It's not an alien position to him, because he played a similar role when he was at Wolves occasionally, but Roberto Martinez choosing to go with the midfield option there. Carrasco now back to Vertonghen, and although Belgium still held on to the ball, they were pushed back a lot there by Canada, and then they resorted to a long ball up front towards Michy Batshuayi, a long way over his head, and Canada get the ball back. I mean, you don't want to say inside 42 minutes that they've run out of ideas, but Belgium look like they might have run out of ideas.
They may have run out of ideas, but they've not run out of words to say to each other. We saw Kevin De Bruyne throwing his arms up in the air, and he was running to go and close down the ball, but not actually looking at the ball, because he's looking all the way back to Toby Alderweireld there to slam that ball that Alderweireld played forward. It's been such a strange half for Belgium. The cliche being that they can't be any worse after the break.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Martinez might be turning to his bench at half-time. He might feel like he's seen enough from the players that are out there so far this evening. 5 substitutions available, so plenty of options to come on, perhaps.
I think Trossard will be a player, Leandro Trossard, the Brighton man, I'd be looking at, just because he's in such good form at the moment. I know he's never been a regular for Belgium, but his numbers have been good for the national team over the last year, and his numbers have been excellent for Brighton, haven't they? And that's the kind of confidence and spark you feel that the team of, admittedly, superstars, yet potentially out-of-form superstars, are not displaying at the moment.
Yeah, Trossard has been excellent this season, and it's no wonder that he's been linked with a reunion with Graham Potter to Chelsea. He doesn't have too much longer left on his Brighton contract. The next 18 months it expires, I believe, so he could be a player in demand. And you're absolutely right, Jack, a player who Roberto Martinez could turn to. 5 goals in 21 Belgium caps, so it's a very respectable goal-scoring record. It's 0-0 with just over a minute and a half of the 45 to go. Long ball played up top, and Belgium have taken the lead. It's harsh on Canada. It's Michy Batshuayi who's finished it left-footed. It's heartbreak as far as Canada are concerned, because they've been by far the better of the two sides. But one moment where they've switched off, and you've got to say it's an excellent finish by Batshuayi into the far corner, but had no chance.
It's a wonderful finish, isn't it, by Batshuayi? It's Toby Alderweireld. It's basic Route 1 football. It's over the top of Johnston there. For once, he's out of position. Miller can't get back, and Batshuayi, we've questioned his finishing at times in this game already, but there's no doubts about that. It's great centre forward play. He watches it all the way, he watches it across him, and with the instep of his left foot just whips it past the goalkeeper, who's got absolutely no chance. We've had so much praise for Canada. We've doubted Belgium, but the quality has shown through there.
Absolutely so, and well, that penalty miss is proving to be very, very costly now as far as Canada are concerned. With their first big opportunity in the game, Belgium have taken it. 27 goals now for his country, for Michy Batshuayi, and just his 49th cap as well, so he certainly knows how to find the back of the net for his country, even though a lot of Belgium's goals come against the minnows in World Cup and European Championship qualification. This is going to be a different test now of Canada's mettle, to see how they can respond to this setback. I don't predict Belgium will be wanting to sit back and invite pressure, because they should be going forward and trying to kill this game off more than anything. Pierluigi Collina, an interested spectator on the FIFA payroll these days by the looks of things. We have gone over the 45-minute mark. We've not had confirmation yet of how much time is going to be added on, but Canada can't afford to go into their shell. They've given the ball away in midfield, though, and this is where Belgium now could look to try and open up the Canadians. Hazard with a ball forward, but Batshuayi can't collect it. It's a really strong pass by Eden Hazard. 5 minutes of additional time, so there is an opportunity for Canada to get the equalising goal before the break, and Eustachiou comes forward. He's fed it across to this near side for Alphonso Davies. Options are there ahead of him. Several options too. Davies plays it into David now, who tries to square it short for Junior Hoylett. Maybe should have gone for goal himself, Jonathan David, with the confidence that he's in. Really nice touch as well from Davis's pass, and another chance for Canada.
Almost too cute that, wasn't it, from Jonathan David, trying to find Junior Hoylett. You do feel the way that they've played, they are going to get one more half chance at least before the final 3.5 minutes of additional time is played out. Again, Belgium now sat very, very deep. They'll be understandably delighted to go in 1-0 up at the break. Plenty of positives as, again, Canada coming forward.
Yeah, on the overlap, the ball sent into the box and it's lifted over the bar by Buchanan. He was sliding in, so he really had to get the contact just right. Excellent incisive play. The cross into the area from David was absolutely magnificent. Buchanan gets there, but the ball just bounces off the turf at the crucial moment, and that makes it difficult to keep it down on the ground.
It does make it difficult, but a good run across the near post by Buchanan there as Courtois clears his lines. Batshuayi wins the flick, only finds Alphonso Davies, but as we keep saying, plenty of positives for Canada, but I suppose, as other teams will tell you so far in this tournament, it is about taking your chances.
Absolutely so, and Canada haven't taken theirs. Eustachiou now into Davis, who just stumbles, but he's got back up to his feet now, and then he runs into trouble in the form of Dendoncker. No foul. De Bruyne tries to slide one through into the run of Eden Hazard. It's good defensive positioning by Vitoria. David now crossed to the far side for Richie Reilly. He's been challenged by Carrasco. It's going to go behind for a corner. And I do think in the second half they need to look at running at Carrasco more, not just because he's been booked, but because he is really a winger playing out of position at wing-back. I know he's done the job before, but that is an opportunity they could look to exploit. But a set-piece chance now for Canada to potentially get back on level terms, and this might be the last chance of this first half. We've got 5 minutes allocated at the end. We've played nearly 4 of them. Sent into the box towards the edge of the area. Eustachiou shoots, again turning to the referee, claiming that there was a handball in there. Once more, hard to tell at first glance. Over with Davis on the far side. Davis away from Carrasco. Carrasco does really well, to be fair to him, and now Belgium can try and counter-attack. Carrasco's going to try and break forward himself. Here is Kevin De Bruyne on the far side. Carrasco the furthest man forward. Batshuayi is there too. De Bruyne couldn't make his mind up who to pass it to. It eventually drops now for Eden Hazard, but Canada can clear it. That is the probably the big weakness of Canada's game that I've seen, is sometimes defensively they can be caught out, as the shot came in from Eustachiou, but Tielemans' arms were tucked in towards his face, so no prospect of a penalty kick there. But Canada have so much encouragement for the second half as the throw-in is about to be taken. We've got seconds remaining of this first half now. Hutchinson back to Johnston, and that is that for the first half. Well, Canada had an early opportunity from the penalty spot, saved Alphonso Davies' effort by Thibaut Courtois, and then Michy Batshuayi got the opener just before the break. At half-time, Belgium 1, Canada 0.
Half-time in Group F between Belgium and Canada. It's Belgium 1, Canada 0, but that does not tell the story of the game. Canada have been by far the best side, and they had an early penalty saved by Thibaut Courtois, handball by Yannick Carrasco. Alphonso Davies stepped up, but the goalkeeper guessed right and beat it away. Canada have had a number of opportunities, however, Belgium have got the goal. Michy Batshuayi firing home after 44 minutes. A long ball back to front from Toby Alderweireld, and Batshuayi was there. 1-0 to Belgium.
Probably a positive change, that. I think he's looked good for Everton in his short time there so far. We didn't really discuss bringing Carrasco off, but no real surprise, to be perfectly honest, with the booking that he's picked up and knowing that Canada were likely to go and try and run at him. I think from Belgium's point of view, it can only get better for them in this second half. The 1-0 scoreline does not reflect what we've seen. Canada can feel really hard done by, and it's a test now for Canada in terms of them not getting too down about what's happened and the results of the first half. They've got to try and come out and play in exactly the same style, and if they do and they can get men forward, they will get that one golden opportunity where they can try and score.
Absolutely. So the teams in full: Belgium, Courtois and goal, Dendoncker, Alderweireld and Vertonghen across the back, Castagna from the left, now Meunier from the right, Witsel and Anana in midfield, Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard supporting the goal scorer Michy Batshuayi. Already Anana's been spoken to by the referee because he's committed 2 challenges already. Untidy foul, that one. And through the back of Junior Hoyle, unchanged from the first half. Canada, Boyan in goal, Johnson, Vittoria, Miller across the back, Davis, Justicau, Hutchinson and Larea, Buchanan and Hoylett supporting Jonathan David. Buchanan was very impressive in the first half, and he's on the ball now, battling with Castagna. Shrugs him off, and Eustaquio does really well, gets the wrong side of De Bruyne. David with the header. Ooh, no backlift. He gets the header towards goal, but not on goal.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange attempt at the header, really. It's brilliant work from Eustaquio to get the ball into the box. And Jonathan David, I think, looked to be maybe caught in 2 minds whether to try and glance it towards the far corner or head it back across. In the end, he went for a glance, but I think in the time that he was making his mind up, he might have taken his eye off the ball just a little bit, and it was too fine a contact on his head. I think it was probably the wrong option, because if it had gone to the side of the far post, I think Courtois may have just got to it. Just got a slight delay in proceedings at the moment as Belgium prepare to take the throw-in. But a good start to this second half for Canada, and they look like such a confident unit.
They do look like a confident unit, and I think we saw earlier with Costa Rica going down 7-0 against Spain that if you do sit back, you could be in big trouble against the more attacking sides, and Canada have taken the game to Belgium. However, they conceded that goal. Just long ball straight down the middle from Alderweireld. Great finish by Batshuayi. Great run and great technique and great skill that all the great players at the top level have. Batshuayi has let the ball run across it and fired it home with his left foot. And that moment of quality is what separates the sides, and I suppose what separates plenty of sides at the top level. Canada have had the chances and not scored, whereas Belgium have had one shot on target and scored. So we'll get down to sports in a second, as Alphonso Davies, he had a penalty save in the first half, goes at square to Eustaquio, who's allowed to get an effort away but drags it wide of the target.
Yeah, not the greatest shot on goal from Steven Eustaquio. I think he had better options than to go for goal from that range, but you're exactly right that the best teams take their opportunities, and it's all well and good beating Belgium in the shots column, in the shots on target column, and even the possession column, because Canada have had plenty of the ball. But if you can't stick it away, then what's the point in winning those statistical battles? They've got to try and get more efforts on target at least, and really start working Thibaut Courtois more. But they've been a credit to themselves so far, and they're attacking down the far side again.
Yeah, it's Hoylett down the left-hand side, one-on-one with Dendoncker. He's allowed to get into the box. Hoylett twists, turns and goes back towards the touchline, and then tries to feed it into Davis, but Meunier's in there and prods it away up towards Hazard, and well, there was a lot of grace, it seemed, in Belgium's move, and then Vittoria, the Canadian central defender, stepped in and smashed it clear into the stands towards the Canadian fans who are behind Thibaut Courtois' goal. Now Belgium 1, Canada 0. Independent off-tube studio commentary. It is international football, I suppose, isn't it? World Cup in Qatar, but we're not there. We're studio based as Castagna fires it back towards Courtois, who had to take a couple of touches to get it under his control. Now Dendonker's going back into his own area. Meunier, the half-time sub, finds Witsel. Anana, the other half-time substitute, has moved to the right-hand side. Witzel's gone back to Courtois, who strokes it to Castagno, who goes inside. Now there is space for Kevin De Bruyne to turn. 30 yards from his own goal. Belgium going right to left. Anana controls and takes a couple of extra touches. Eventually finds it to De Bruyne. Witsel will turn back inside. He's got Batshuayi ahead of him, as is Eden Hazard. Meunier wide on the right hand side. Dendoncker gives it to Borussia Dortmund man. Now Aston Villa's Dendoncker and Antwerp's Alderweireld and Anderlecht's Vertonghen. Eden Hazard, only 6 appearances for Real Madrid. 1 goal though, but injuries have not been his friend, and other players have come through since he moved, of course, with the likes of Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo, as De Bruyne spins and finds Anana. Shooting chance for the Everton man if he wants to take it. No, he just tries to drift it over the top. It's too strong, goes out on the full, maybe just caught in 2 minds there, the youngster.
Yeah, it's a really poor attempt at a cross there, and I think he probably would have been better off having a go from range. Good position for Amadou Onana to potentially get the strike away, but yeah, it's been more of the same really in this second half. Canada look quicker when they get forward. Another long ball is played up. This one not so sympathetic towards Junior Hoylett up front, but Thomas Meunier guilty of giving away the free kick. I think there may have been a slight shove in the back.
Yeah, it's a curse of the wing-backs at the moment for Belgium, isn't it? He's their second man to be booked. Yannick Carrasco's already gone off, but Meunier off the bench as maybe... I think there's maybe an elbow's a bit high, but it's on the shoulder rather than the face, and I think he goes up knowing the ball's going to go over him, both himself and Hoylett, so he's happy to almost shape to go for it, knowing neither of them were going to get it. It was going to be a Belgian ball, but it's a real opportunity for Canada.
Absolutely so. They've not had too many set-piece opportunities. It's all been from open play, so we'll see what they can produce.
Yes, as Eustaquio who has it. It's fairly central, left of centre, just about 35 yards out, so too far to go for goal. But Belgium are pretty deep towards the edge of their box. They've got everyone barring Eden Hazard back too, and even he's pretty far back now as he runs back towards the 18-yard line. It's whipped in by Eustaquio. It's too strong though. I think he was looking towards Victoria coming in towards the back post. The Porto man tries to explain his idea, but not to be, as we see the Canadian coach, as we mentioned. He's had a pretty interesting and cosmopolitan path to the top. Englishman, born in County Durham, coached in New Zealand and Canada. Made history this evening by becoming the first coach to coach of both the women's and men's World Cups. John Herdman, been in charge since 2018, and will be very pleased with what he's seen. Will be even more pleased if his side can grab a goal. They've got a corner kick. Both Miller and Victoria are forward. Buchanan's gone up there too, and it looks like Johnson towards the edge of the box. It's going to be Alphonso Davies to take it. He takes it short to Jonathan David, whose touch has not been there, and that was a poor layoff back towards Davis, and Kevin De Bruyne's ball wasn't much better either. He cleared it, but right across field, and it'll be a Canada throw around about 40 yards out on the right hand side as they attack. It is Johnson who has it down the line to Buchanan. Good skill by him to get away from Alderweireld. Then loops it over the top. I say loops it over the top. He loops it over the top of the goal. It was a tough bit of technique that isn't it? It's at hip height for Buchanan. Does so well to flick it over his shoulder and over Vertonghen, but he knows he has to take it early. He controls it with his thigh. It loops up and just skids off the outside of his boot.
Yeah, the ball wouldn't quite set up nicely for him as free kick's been given away. Onana looking to run away from Eustaquio. There's a bit of a flailing elbow, and Onana's been given a yellow card as well. And you almost can't believe that Canada are the losing side, because Belgium appear to be losing their heads an awful lot quicker. It's not been a great cameo from both the half-time subs. 11 minutes gone, they've both been booked.
I think that's 3 fouls against Onana. I think he's very harshly done to there, actually, Dan. He's running away from Eustaquio. He puts his arm out because he's running. Unfortunately, catches Eustaquio, who's going to get absolutely nowhere near him. Onana's away there, isn't he? And I think the referee has maybe fallen for the reaction rather than the incident.
Yeah, it's a little bit harsh that on Onana. He's swinging his arms around. I think Eustaquio makes the most of it, but Belgium coming forward now, trying to be quick on the counter-attack, but Canada very quick to recover as well. Good play from Buchanan, but here is Axel Witsel.
Yes, down the left-hand side, Castagna, and the ball ricochets off, I think Jonathan David is getting back. No, it's the Larrea, isn't it? And it will be a Canada throw. Larrea and Witsel have a word with each other. The referee's just going to try and calm everything down. Johnston takes over, and he's going to have a word with Larrea, I think, and Witsel. Witsel's never been backwards in coming forwards, has he, during his career? And neither has Larrea by the looks of it, as we're going to see Kyle Larin, the record goal scorer for Canada. He'll come on for Junior Hoylett. 13 goals in qualification. Now in Belgium with Club Brugge. He knows Buchanan. They play together week in, week out. Is that going to be the only change? No. Atiba Hutchinson is going to be replaced. Looks like Ismail Kone, another youngster, 20 years old, Ismail Kone, is going to come on and take his place in the middle of the park.
Yeah, I think Atiba Hutchinson, 39 years old, you do wonder, 3 games in the space of a week pretty much, how much he'd be able to play. So perhaps a sensible call that from John Herman. And it'd be interesting to see Kyle Larin play, and particularly with the link-up, the potential link-up with his club teammate Buchanan. And as you mentioned, very impressive goal-scoring record he's got in qualification. So another goal threat that Canada can turn to. Normally the minnows have their best players in the starting 11, and then they don't have much to call upon on the bench. Canada certainly look like they do.
It looks like a potential tweak in formation as well, doesn't it? Davis has come out to the right-hand side, and forgive me if I'm wrong, Dan, it looks like Buchanan's gone to left-back, maybe as a left wing-back. He's certainly dropped in there. You'd think they've got the potential to go to a back 4 with Larrea and Johnston, Vittoria and Miller. It's going to be interesting to see. They're so fluid, aren't they, Canada, as they bring it forward through David. The ball bounces off him. Larin will give chase as Vertonghen just about gets it away. Kone stretches, born in the Ivory Coast, moved to Canada at the age of 7 and spent much of his time since then in Montreal. Plays for that club in the MLS. As Buchanan is fouled, he's certainly playing from the left-hand side. And not happy about the treatment he's getting from Meunier, of course, on a yellow card.
Yeah, so again, another opportunity for Canada to try and run at Meunier, and it's a silly challenge as well.
That's his last one. That has to be his last one, that, doesn't it? Because he's nowhere near the ball. He catches him. You wonder if they move Buchanan out there because of what we thought they were going to do with Carrasco in the first half.
He's wearing one of those protective face masks because he must have suffered a facial injury. I don't know whether it's putting him off because it might be affecting his peripheral vision or something like that, but a silly free kick to give away, and a chance for Canada to whip one in from over on that far right side.
It can't be easy, can it, wearing one of those face masks? Eustaquio will again take this free kick wide on the left-hand side. Canada going left to right again. The ball's a poor one. Goes out on the full. And well, in rugby at the weekend, that'd be a drop out on the 22, wouldn't it? It was such a poor ball, such a loss of territory. It's been very good, the Porto man, this evening. Looked like we're going to see Leandro Trossard in the not too distant future. He's been very good, the Porto man, this evening, but set pieces have let him down.
Yeah, they have, and there's a big onus on him with those set pieces because it looks like he's the chosen one to take them. Belgium now with a chance to come forward. Eden Hazard with a great turn away from Johnston. Johnston does just enough to hold him up slightly.
Yes, Hazard, I wonder if he will be the man to make way. Oh, if they're going to make an emergency substitution and take off Meunier because he struggled so much since coming on. Onana Another one on a yellow card. All 3 yellow cards have been Belgium's in this game. 61 and a bit minutes on the clock. Belgium 1, Canada 0. Batshuayi's goal on 44 minutes. The difference, Alphonso Davies seeing a penalty saved in the first half. It's independent off Tube Studio commentary, and it's been mighty good fun so far this evening. Of course, more games to come tomorrow. Switzerland v Cameroon and Brazil Serbia. 10 o'clock and 7 o'clock respectively, Group G and Group H. In between that, Uruguay v South Korea and Portugal against Ghana. The captain's armband goes to Jan Vertonghen, Belgium's most capped player, because their second most capped player, Eden Hazard, is making way for Leandro Trossard, who will play on the left of the attack. And that's a form player coming on for a player who hasn't played much and who's out of form.
Yeah, and a player who's been susceptible to injuries and is now in his early 30s. So going back to Atiba Hutchinson, he's a player who might need to be protected a little bit more than some of the younger players. But Leandro Trossard, big vote of confidence in him to replace not just the Belgium skipper, but being player as well. As a chance comes from Buchanan, and that stemmed from a really poor challenge in midfield. The referee decided to play the advantage straight away as the ball rolled across to Buchanan, and he absolutely lashes it a long way over the bar. If you can level one criticism at Canada, it's just been that lack of composure in front of goal.
Yes, you exactly what I was about to say there, Dan. That their finishing has left a lot to be desired, but they are still creating chances. I think barring the well, he's not made a save, I don't think, in the second half, has he, Thibaut Courtois? Of course, he saved a penalty, and there's had a couple more incidents in the first half, but he's been really tested in this second, despite Canada having in total, incredibly, they've had 18 shots. Only 3 have been on target, though, and that is kind of the tale of the game so far, as Batshuayi holds the ball up on the edge of the Canada box. He loses out, but it is a Belgian ball. Kevin De Bruyne will take it to Trossard. He gets his first touch. Hazard-esque in the way he moves, and ooh, what a lovely bit of skill that was to backheel it into Meunier. It's easily recognisable with that face mask on. Meunier's cross is off Vittoria. Lovely bit of play that, wasn't it, by Trossard?
Yeah, great back heel, really good awareness to find Meunier. That's what confident players can do, and Trossard is a player with lots and lots of ability. Belgium now with a corner kick, and this would be so harsh if Belgium can get a second goal against Canada, because right now the game's nip and tuck. But if Belgium do get that 2-goal cushion, they'll be able to slow the pace of the game down and try and keep hold of the ball.
They certainly don't lack height, especially with Onana coming on at half-time. It's headed to the ball towards Dendoncker. He gets the header and fouls Buchanan, who thought he was away. He was held back by Dendoncker. And a free kick just inside the Canada area, although they will take it a bit further out of their box.
That should be a yellow card for my money.
I was just about to say, anywhere else on the pitch that would have been a yellow card.
Yeah, and they were going to go forward on the counter-attack. They had so many men over on the field, and it shouldn't really make too much of a difference where the foul takes place. Belgium come forward now.
Onana, he gets on the outside of his man, does really well. He's still going, he was tackled, he stumbled into the ball and he got away from him. That was an intriguing call, and one that makes me glad I'm not a qualified referee, because it was, you could say 6 of one, half a dozen the other, but the reason he stumbled, because he'd gone outside, I think it was Miller, and with the desperate lunge, didn't really get a touch of the ball. I'm not sure either way. He certainly affected the run, as Larry now has it, gets to the byline, he passes it all the way back for everyone. Davis on the edge of the box. Eustachiou via Buchanan. Eustachiou's going to go for goal. No, he's not. Davis was Eustachiou, blocked by Onana. Either way, Kevin De Bruyne is off, and so is Michy Batshuayi. If he can get past Miller, what a challenge that is by Miller there. The Montreal man sliding in. If he gets that wrong, it's a red card and maybe even another penalty. It was ball and all, he did really well.
Yeah, I mean, just going back to that Belgium chance where Onana was moving forward, I think the first challenge it looked like Miller got a touch of the ball, then Onana stumbles, shot comes in from Lerrier and it goes wide of the target. Once again, Canada shooting, just letting them down. Vertonghen was the man in the way, and it's just lashed across the goal there. What a challenge that was, though, from Miller. He had to get that one absolutely right. If he doesn't, he's off.
The best thing about that challenge as well is it's a tackle pass, isn't it? He knows exactly where he's playing. He goes right to his teammate's feet. He plays the outside of his foot. Real confidence from the Canada man. Belgium are going in confidence, and De Bruyne has got away from Miller. They've got a 4-on-2 overload. It's back to Batshuayi on the edge of the box. Great covering challenge by Lerrier, who rightly celebrates. I think a bit of frustration towards his teammates, but he punches the air because, for me, Dan, he has saved a certain goal there.
Well, Michy Batshuayi thought he was going to have the chance to just stroke that into the back of the net. Bit of good fortune about how De Bruyne gets away down the right-hand side. He gets his head up and sees Batshuayi in space, ready to have the shot to get his second. Lerrier with an awesome challenge, but Canada a little bit on the ropes now.
67 gone. Belgium 1, Canada 0. Independent Off-Tube Studio commentary. De Bruyne, heads go up. It's Vertonghen with the header. It's not a great one. Jonathan Davies has got the wrong boots on tonight. He slips there. Trossard then digs out a pass towards Witsel. Witsel back to Batshuayi. Onana now onto Meunier, who wanted to run onto it and shoot, I think. The ball from Onana wasn't the best. De Bruyne into Trossard. Trossard wide to Castagna. Batshuayi. Batshuayi goes on a dart himself, still going. Challenge comes in. Eustachiou it was, who had to be careful. Just opened up there for Batshuayi. It's been really interesting since Trossard came on. You got a feeling he's looked really sharp in training, because they're not shy in giving him the ball at the moment, are they?
No, they're not, and he's got those fresh legs as well, so why wouldn't you want to give him the ball, particularly with the form he's been on for Brighton, the fact that he can create something out of nothing. It's all going to be about freshness, I think, as we go on towards the end of this game, because it's been played at such a high intensity.
Absolutely, as Belgium come forward again. Witsel into that man Trossard. The ball sticks to his right foot. And back to De Bruyne, back down to walking pace. We are into the final quarter of the game. 1-0 Belgium, Independent Off-Tube Studio commentary, World Cup Group F. And all to play for. Dan to take us through to full time.
Cheers, Jack. It has been an enjoyable evening of football, and De Bruyne starting to pick up the ball a little bit more often. That's an unusual loose pass from the Manchester City playmaker, looking for the run of Batshuayi. He doesn't have that same pace as Lukaku to get in behind, but Batshuayi, as it stands, is the match winner. Belgium 1, Canada 0 on 69 minutes, with changes starting to come for both sides. Loose from Eustachiou in midfield, challenged well by Onana, and then he gets to the ball once again while he's on the deck. It's been a mixed cameo so far from Amadou Onana, but he did very well in that situation. Vertonghen now, square ball to Dendoncker. The only avenue he's got to exploit is all the way back to Thibaut Courtois. Courtois launches it downfield. Oh, what a touch that is. Terrific stuff there from Castagna, but he can't link up with De Bruyne again. And now Canada coming forward on the counter-attack once more. That was Kyle Larin just running into a little bit of traffic, starting out in the wide position. Good challenge that by Leander Dendoncker. 20 minutes of the 90 to go, and it's still difficult to call how this game is going to finish, with Canada hoping to push for their first World Cup point, first ever World Cup goal as well, because they didn't score any in the 1986 FIFA World Cup. That's really loose from Canada, and they had to stretch to get across. It was Eustachiou who wins the ball nicely, gets it back from Johnston. Eustachiou looking to go for one of those channel balls, trying to pick out Jonathan David, doesn't find him. Here's Alphonso Davies now, who's popped up on the right side of midfield. He's given it away. Johnston now tries to challenge Kevin De Bruyne. He keeps on his feet really nicely. De Bruyne standing one up towards the back post. He only had Batshuayi with him. It's a poor touch from the Fenerbahce forward and goes out for Canada throwing. And, well, I think De Bruyne, could he have been a little bit more patient there?
It wasn't a great ball, maybe a lower one rather than going over the top, but I think he probably saw a couple of Canadian defenders in front of him, so he wanted to go over the top. It wasn't a sympathetic pass at all, that was it, from De Bruyne, but he seems to be thriving a bit more. Belgium are so open, they've almost got a flat back five, and Axel Witsel in front of them and not much after that.
No, it's all about attack at the moment, as free kick is given away by Batshuayi on Miller, who looks a very sort of rugged, old-fashioned defender from what I've seen of him so far. Campbell Miller, he made that awesome challenge just a few moments ago. Not the most cultured in possession. He's on the ball now. And Canada are looking to force an equalising goal and try and create a little bit of footballing history. But Belgium have grown a little bit in stature throughout the game, grown in confidence. Vitoria plays a long ball upfield. Courtois wanted to come out and try and meet it, but it's headed away by Toby Alderweireld. Canada will get another opportunity on the halfway line with Vitoria over towards Johnston. A few loose passes starting to be made by the Canada players. Maybe a sense of legginess out there as Trossard now plays the short ball to De Bruyne into the Canada half now. Here is Batshuayi. Trossard collects it, edge of the area, still onto the ball, but Johnston slides in, makes a really important intervention. But Trossard looked like he was primed and ready just to try and dance around the Canada defence and get a strike away for a second. Now there's an opportunity for Canada to come fall, but Laria can't get to that diagonal ball that's played forward, and Courtois will just watch that one sail out of play for a goal kick. We're just getting another replay on our pictures of Laria making that challenge on Michy Batshuayi. Didn't see that he was coming his way. I don't know whether he got a shout or not, but it's all academic now. Laria has made his last contribution to the game, and Sam Adekugbe is coming on to replace him. So it's one defender for another. Again, just trying to instill a little bit of freshness in the Canada ranks, because Belgium are starting to stretch the game a little bit.
Yeah, and to me that means I think they might go back four now by the looks of it. Adekugbe usually plays on the left hand side to Hatayespor, and that's the position he's picked up. So Miller and Vitoria the centre halves, Johnston the right back, so back four, really attacking back four as well, because Adekugbe and Johnston are not shy in going forward. You've got to big real credit to Canada, because they've done what, you know, a lot of teams will play against a team like Belgium, try and sit back and soak up the pressure. They've done exactly the opposite. It's been Belgium who've had to soak up the pressure and hit them on the break. And a bit of fortune about Belgium's current 1-0 lead. If Canada's finishing had been sharper, they would have, probably have had the victory wrapped up by now. It looks like Lois Openda's going to come on the Lens forward for Belgium. As again, Canada have it. They've got the possession and the territory at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know whether Saudi Arabia's victory against Argentina yesterday might just have changed the mindset for some of these smaller nations, give them the proof that the smaller nations can win if they approach the game in the right way. Sitting back and defending, it's not exactly a winning ticket. They've got this once in every 4 years opportunity, and what Canada have done in this 75 minutes has been really remarkable, given that they've had no prior experience in this tournament. But they are set up at the moment for glorious failure. So we sometimes see it in the United Kingdom. 1-0 down against Belgium, and it's Michy Batshuayi's goal on 44 minutes, the difference between the two sides. Johnston now down the channel for Buchanan, who gets the ball back really well from Kyle Larin. Buchanan is now looking to run. He plays it into the area for Larin, and his touch lets him down, and the ball was taken off his toes just as he was about to strike it, left-footed, I think. Eustaquio now in possession. Onana comes and meets him. He goes back now to Miller. Adekugbe has gone to the left-hand side of defence. Here is Eustaquio now. Here's Ishmael Cohn. Now for Victoria. Canada. Coney just slipped then, and he's almost allowed Trossard to take the ball off his toes. He has to go all the way backwards, use his goalkeeper instead. Miller now on the ball. He's getting his head up, trying to see those options. There's not quite the sprightly running in the Canada ranks as we saw in the first half and most of this second half. There is a sense that tiredness is beginning to come to the fore for them. Long ball up towards Davis, though. We've not seen him quite as much in this second half, and I wonder if part of Roberto Martinez's half-time team talk will have been on how to limit his involvement in the game. Canada, though, playing with the ball edge of the area. Quick turn from David to try and get the shot away. Buchanan now picks the ball up on this near side. Still, we've not had that Belgium change. Lois Openda primed and ready to come on. The man who plays his football in Ligue 1 for Lyon, potentially winning just his sixth cap for the Red Devils. 77 on the clock. And Canada in possession now, as they have been for the last 2 or 3 minutes, without necessarily going anywhere with it. Victoria, long pass out to the far side, looking for Adekuke. And Thomas Meunier heads it away. And that change is going to come now for the Belgians. Openda is coming on, and Michy Batshuayi will be the man to make way. The man, as it stands, is earning Belgium those 3 points. He's been told by the referee to exit at the nearest touchline, which is one of the rules that we see in the game these days. Batshuayi, I don't think he's necessarily had a great game, but it doesn't matter because he scored the winning goal as it stands.
Yeah, absolutely. Luis Openda comes on. Just his sixth cap, 2 goals in his young international career. But Batshuayi, we said he's a player who's unfortunately not had the opportunity he would have liked because Romelu Lukaku's been there, Christian Benteke before that. But you feel with Lukaku out at the moment, he's kept the shirt at least for Morocco on Sunday.
Well, the first touch by Openda is a really loose touch, but he somehow gets to the ball and then plays it to Axel Witsel. Vertonghen coming over the halfway line. Now Castagna, who's always going to want to try and get it onto his stronger right foot. Tries to link up with fellow Premier League man Trossard, and then Castagna just hauls back Buchanan as he runs back and does his defensive duties. A bit of a rugby challenge from Castagna there. So Canada back in possession of the ball now with Adekuke. Plays it forward quickly, and then it's Alphonso Davies looking to run forward through the middle, but it's a wall of red shirts in the way now up towards Openda. He loses out to Kamal Miller. And now Adekuke, who's been a bit of an outlet for Canada in the 5 minutes or so since he's arrived on the field. Back into midfield now for Eustachiou. Johnston, who's playing as an orthodox right back. Johnston's cross in and headed towards goal, and it's a smart stop by Thibaut Courtois. It's a terrific ball whipped in, and it's Kyle Larin jumping up around about the penalty spot. Maybe one for the cameras by Thibaut Courtois, because he made that one look very straightforward indeed.
It was a great ball in that, wasn't it? Larin doing exactly what he needs to do, head it towards the far corner, but well played by Courtois. Maybe the ball or the header didn't have the power it needed, but it was still fantastic play. Canada preparing to make 2 substitutions. I thought they were going to play with the momentum, though. They have a throw into Belgium territory. Having a look, it looks like Jonathan Osorio, the Toronto man, maybe one of those to come on. I also think Basel's Liam Miller is also going to join the party. Who's the replaced? There's going to be another tactical reshuffle.
It's Eustachiou and Buchanan who've come off. Here is Kyle Larin on this near side. More fresh legs for Canada. Davis with a low ball in. It's not the best ball. It's easily dealt with by Vertonghen, but well, then the free kick is given. It's Davis who makes the challenge. There was a bit of an incident in that midfield as Vertonghen cleared the ball, and then Davis couldn't quite get to it in the nick of time with around about 10 minutes to go. Yeah, he brings down Leandro Trossard half a second too late, but that's how much time it takes for a free kick to be given away. We're getting a replay now of the opportunity that Canada had, and it's Kyle Larin. He does everything right, really, with the header. Unfortunately, he just can't quite get a powerful enough contact to send the ball past Courtois.
Yeah, he's trying to go across the goalkeeper, which he's probably by the textbook the right, but we saw a couple of times in France against Australia last night that they were played with the ball almost. They were playing against the ball, using the power of it to go back towards it. Header from Adrien Rabiot, and Goodwin's goal earlier, they smashed it home rather than try and put their own stamp on it. Maybe he could have gone towards the near post, but I think he got a good purchase on it, just couldn't find that far corner.
Here is Larin, who's got heavily involved in the game since arriving on the field. Davis now very much playing on the right side. I'm not sure that that's tactically the best decision to put him there, but he's made a good run inside. Linking up there with Osorio, who's just come off the bench. Liam Miller has gone over to the far side, by the way, so expect that to change throughout the course of the remainder of this game, given how Canada have fared. And it is Miller who's looking to make a run towards the Belgian defence, and they're having to slip and slide and scramble the ball away anywhere will do at this stage. Now Johnston's given it away, and it's Openda on the turn who's running towards the Canada half, and Johnston chops down Openda. Well, is that going to be a free kick? It certainly is. I didn't know which colour card the referee was going to produce then. Alistair Johnston, who we've praised him for his energy in the game so far. He's on his haunches right now. He looks really, really tired, chasing Openda back there, and it wasn't a good challenge in all honesty as he slid in. It was almost that scissor-style motion, which sometimes players can get red cards for.
Yeah, it was pretty industrial, that, wasn't it, from Johnson. And I think maybe a bit of fatigue is setting in now for both sides. Really. It's such an open and still very exciting game for us. I suppose the good thing, Openda's receiving a bit of treatment, but this is a break for the sides, and both know, as we've seen so far, so often in this competition, that they're not going to lose out at any time because the officials have been so hot on additional time.
Yeah, certainly so. Canada, given how the tournament has gone so far, you'd expect at the very least 5 minutes of additional time, potentially more in this second half with the number of substitutions that we've had. It's going to be De Bruyne who will stand over this free kick. The angle is perhaps a little bit too acute for him to go directly for goal, as Milan Borjan, the Canada goalkeeper, just organises his wall. It's testament really to how well that Canada have played, the fact that we've barely mentioned their goalkeeper even in the second half when it's been slightly more even Stevens. They've done very well to limit Belgium to few opportunities, but as football can go, sometimes it doesn't necessarily go to how the game has panned out. De Bruyne lifts the free kick in, and it's nodded well over the bar. Opportunity for Leander Dendoncker, the Aston Villa man. Good position as well. He wasn't picked up by any of the Canada defenders and gets the timing of the header all wrong.
Yeah, he does. There's a rare lapse by the Canadian defenders, but again, fatigue setting in. That's a good ball, I thought, down the left-hand side by Canada, but cut out. And you're just looking at our pictures, it's the players so stretched. There's a lot of players walking at the moment, Dan.
De Bruyne running towards the box. De Bruyne shoots, and he's almost like he's had shooting lessons from Buchanan there, because he balloons that well over crossbar. Normally so reliable from those situations. It was a nice carry forward from Kevin De Bruyne, who's been far from his best this evening. He's looked pretty subdued throughout.
He has looked subdued. I still think he's played quite well. He's had some nice touches, but as Belgium have been pretty much across the field, he's not at the touch. The ball comes in, it's Larin, it's just behind him as he headers the ball. He heads it up in the air and over the crossbar. He's been a real good outlet at Adikupko since coming on, and no one's even really challenging. It's Vertonghen, I think he's supposed to be marking Larin. Maybe he knows that the angle's against the Canadian centre forward. Even so, he's had 2 crosses in the box and he's won 2 headers.
Yeah, you're exactly right about Adakubi on that left-hand side. They've been looking to utilise him as often as they possibly can. The ball in was a decent one, but fortunately he and Larin weren't quite in synergy there, and Larin had to just dive backwards almost to get the header towards goal. Never ever easy, those chances. 3.5 minutes of the 90 remain. It's still Belgium 1, Canada 0. Belgium pushing for a second because they know that a second will probably crush the Canadian spirit, and they might have an opportunity here. Here is Trossard running into the box. Trossard takes it towards the byline, but he takes it too far. It's excellent jockeying from Kamal Miller. He draws a round of applause from Roberto Martinez for his efforts, but Belgium, they might be made to regret some of their potential missed opportunities where they've not necessarily had chances at goal. Only 2 attempts on target from 7 strikes. Canada 3 from 21. So you know exactly where their weak spot is. I'd love to see the distance covered between the 2 sides, because Canada's numbers must be really off the charts for this World Cup so far. I've not seen a more energetic display from any team in the games that we've had so far, maybe apart from Saudi Arabia against Argentina. Here is Liam Miller on the far side now. Larin tries to dummy it. It's going to come back to Larin, is it? No, it doesn't. Vertonghen is there. A bit of a fortunate ricochet towards Kyle Larin, but Vertonghen, quick as a flash, there to react and frustrate Canada once more.
Vertonghen did really well there. So did Alderweireld, because it looked like all the world, a less experienced defender would have taken Larin down there. They would have just clipped his heels from behind, but Alderweireld, you could see, made himself as small as he could, so he wasn't going to make contact with the Canadian centre forward. Great play by the 2 Belgian veterans.
Belgium looking to counter-attack once more. Openda with a cross-field ball. It's nicely dealt with in midfield. Coming forward now is Alphonso Davies, the made man as far as Canada are concerned, but he's been a little bit quieter in this second half. Tries to get away from Axel Witsel, finds a ball across to Liam Miller. Miller gets the ball in. Alderweireld clears. Is it going to go out into touch? Openda tries to gather it. It's Miller who gets there instead, and then combines nicely with Liam Miller. Kamal Miller and Liam Miller just playing the ball to one another then. And it's over with Liam Miller on that far side. A bit like Adakubi. He's been lively, and it's Adakubi on the ball now. Out of play for a corner kick off Leander Dendoncker, and Canada are not lying down.
They're not lying down. Into the final minute of the 90, I think we'll get 6 or 7 added on. Canada coming forward again. We're seeing Miller making his way. Victoria too. Miller will take the corner kick. Liam Miller, that is, needs a good delivery.
Yeah, it certainly does. And it's not a good delivery. It's way, way too deep, and it goes out of play for a goal kick. And they've been so disappointing with their set pieces throughout the game of Canada. That's another weak spot that I'm sure John Herdman will be looking at when they get back to their training base. First, Stephen Eustachiou took a number of free kicks which were either comfortably dealt with or went straight out into touch, and then Liam Miller with another one there. Romelu Lukaku watches on very nervously indeed. Belgium's all-time record goal scorer. I'm sure he'd love to be on the field right now. It may have been a different story if he'd have started this game. Belgium now coming forward. Chance now for them to get their second goal. It was a very elaborate attempt with the outside of the boot there by, I think it was Thomas Meunier getting forward from right back. They've done enough to earn themselves another corner kick. 5 minutes of time added on at the end of this match, and well, comparatively that's quite little compared to what we've seen from some of the games so far, particularly with all the substitutions we've had. Are Belgium going to bother whipping this one into the area? It's a sparsely populated Canadian penalty area as far as red shirts are concerned. We've only got Alderweireld, Witsel and Openda in there. The corner is going to be taken short as predicted, but De Bruyne gets into the box trying to catch out a tiring Canada defence, but the low cross is dealt with easily by Bohan, and now Canada doing what they want to do. It's Adegukpe who's popped up now on this right side. Kone just over the halfway line for Johnston, whose pass was nearly intercepted, but a chance now for Osario. Osario running through midfield for Kone, and now with Johnston, there's 7 Canada shirts ahead of him in support. Johnston's cross is deflected. Larin tries to get there. It takes all the pace off the ball, and he has to try and generate the power himself. He can't do that, and Courtois catches one from the sky.
Yeah, you just wonder what might have been if Kyle Larin had started the game. He's had 3 headed opportunities, but he's not tested Courtois. He just looked a bit cold off the bench at times. His movement's not been sharp, but he's been such a big threat. We're seeing John Heyman still imploring his team to go forward, trailing 1-0. This has been a superb performance from Canada, and they'll take plenty of confidence from it. Of course, their next game is Croatia, drew 0-0 with Morocco. That on Sunday. You can see them playing exactly the same way against Croatia.
Here comes Miller, breaks into the box on the left-hand side, looking to try and reverse it to Jonathan David. It's cleared now by Belgium, and Trossard is making a move down this near side. He needs a bit of support, but perhaps sensibly he's chosen to check back and play it to De Bruyne. Now Witsel for Amadou Onana. 1 goal in it, and John Herdman, the Canada coach, can take an awful lot of credit for how his side have played, and I can almost foresee the lazy newspaper linking in with jobs elsewhere, jobs in Europe perhaps, for the man who's originally from County Durham, born and bred in Concert, but he's made his name in footballing circles in North America with Canada's women's team, and now the men's team, who look like they're going to go down to a defeat, but 1-0 scoreline is a very poor reflection of how this game has gone. Here is Openda. He was lining up a shot then, a cheeky drop of the shoulder, gets away from Osario in midfield, holds onto the ball nicely. Here is De Bruyne for Castagna now. He's got Trossard ahead of him. De Bruyne making a move as well. De Bruyne gets the ball onto his right foot, edge of the penalty area. Tries to tee one up for Lois Openda, but his touch isn't great. 90 seconds of the 5 added minutes to go, and that's just goalkeeper to goalkeeper there. Bohan, a little bit of a rush of blood to the head, and he volleys it out of his arms straight towards Thibaut Courtois. Need to be a little bit cuter, but you can understand the urgency from Canada to try and send it forward as quick as they possibly can. Castagna down to Trossard. It's Miller who gets across, and has he hurt himself making that challenge? He's had to do an awful lot of stretching with some of those last-ditch challenges on Trossard. It's another good challenge as well from Kamal Miller, and he's just still down on the deck, unfortunately. He's been helped up to his feet by his colleague Alistair Johnston. He's moving a bit gingerly. Kamal Miller, he's going to be a big player for Canada going forward, so it'd be a real shame if he was to be injured.
He's been very impressive, hasn't he, this evening? He just stretched in there. You just wonder about his hamstring, maybe a bit of cramp, as Openda's ball-in's not the best, and Canada might just have one more opportunity. That stoppage where Miller was down has given them a few more seconds. Come down the left-hand side, inside, here is Osorio.
At the point of no return now for Canada, it's Osorio bringing the ball forward over the halfway line. Osorio linking up there with Alphonso Davies, and it's heartbreak for Canada because the referee has blown for full time. Michy Batshuayi with the crucial goal just before the break, but Canada can take huge credit for the way that they've played upon their World Cup return, but Belgium, a perennial dark horse, have got off to a winning start. Full time here, Belgium 1, Canada 0.
Our next football commentary match is getting